Hey David. Well, as I think about your accident and how it started and how I heard about it, it brings back just so many memories, kind of some horrible ones. But basically I got the phone call on a Monday morning, October the 8th, from your colonel telling me that you had been in an accident, you and your three friends. And all he really knew was that you were unconscious at the scene and you'd been taken to a rural clinic in Turkey, and you were stabilized there. I was just shocked. It was really hard to think straight, and even though I didn't know how severe your injuries were, I was really, really scared. I had to call your mom at work and tell her, and then I called your sisters and told them. The minutes just drug on, and it was like being in a really bad dream. Your mom came home from work, and I had to cancel some jobs, and then all the two of us could do was sit and kind of wonder what condition you were in and cry and then pray and then kind of cry and pray. And we did that a lot. And then the news came from Turkey, and it wasn't good. Not only were you still unconscious, but now they were calling it a coma. And somehow that seemed way different than just being unconscious. It was like being in a dream, and it stayed that way for months. It was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my whole life. And with all the love and respect that I have for you, it was killing me to know that you might die. And even if you lived, what would your life be like? We've heard of people in comas and they never came out, and we were just terrified. All of our lives were pretty much turned upside down, just like yours was. And for the next 5 months, you were our focus, and we lived with you or next to you in Washington, D.C. and in Palo Alto. But we grew really close to God, and we relied on Him. God answered our prayers daily. Some days we saw remarkable improvements. I think we saw miracles. Other days we had setbacks. You had setbacks. But God always gave us what we needed, and that was the strength to get through each day. And He gave you the strength too, David. I guess through all this, we can just praise God that He was faithful. You're doing awesome. I know it's a struggle. I know that you've got dreams that were shattered, and there's some things that you still can't do. We keep praying that you will be able to, but your life has been changed, and you know that, and I'm so blessed watching how you are dealing with this. You have to be frustrated sometimes, but your attitude is awesome. I just love what God's doing through you and to you, and how you've ministered, and your story has ministered to people around the world, really. And God is using you in amazing ways, and doesn't make it fun what you've gone through. But we are praying for you, supporting you all that we can, and we love you, David. And you mean the world to us.
I was home by myself, and Dad calls and says, that you had been in an accident, and that you were unconscious at the scene, but he didn't say, he didn't know anymore. He didn't know if that meant you were, unconscious for a moment and you were back awake, and that's what I just assumed, because you want to assume the best. And it wasn't until later that day when Dad said, you can be unconscious and, have a broken finger, or you can be unconscious and, really hurt. To see you lying there helpless and hurting, you would flex your muscles and there was no explanation. Are you in pain? Are you trying to, tell us that you hear us, or, but it was just like you get sucker punched, and we couldn't take that from you. We couldn't take your burdens and your pain, and couldn't make you better, and we didn't know. All we could think of, honestly, was, how you always said before, if I'm ever like that, if I'm ever a vegetable, just shoot me, and when it happens and you're sort of like, that's what the neurosurgeons were telling us, that maybe you would be that way, and I know it ran through all of our minds because we didn't know, It was just like, is he going to hate us? Is he kind of look at us and, if he comes out of this a little bit, enough to know what's going on but not enough to move or do anything, is he going to hate us for, for doing this to him, And at the same time, we never had a choice, don't worry. But at the same time, you always want to have that hope, that you are going to come out of it and that you're going to be fine. The way I would look at it was, okay, if this is as good as it's going to get, can he do this? Can we do this for it? Can we help him? And is he going to be happy? Because that's all I think ultimately we were just hoping that you could find happiness again, that you wouldn't be pissed off at the world and like, why am I still here? I can't do anything. That was our fear. It just seemed like a burden kept getting a little bit better and better, to know that, with each new thing, you would be okay and you could be happy. And then you started smiling and talking, and God, you just amazed us because you were happy. You didn't get down. You were so determined. You are so determined to get better and to beat this. And God couldn't have picked a better person. I know that sounds silly, and I don't mean it to be negative or weird, but you are so determined and so perfect. You're a perfect candidate. You could handle this. When in Palo Alto, you were sort of going through every little baby stage, like moving your fingers and opening your eyes, and just sort of like, it seemed like baby steps the whole way. You were just going from a baby to an adult, and you were sort of like at a toddler stage, I guess. You're not potty trained, and you were fixated on, plastic gloves, and you would just pull and pull and pull and balls, and it was just weird. But we started to notice that you were coming out of it, and you were becoming more aware, and were capable of doing things like, going to the bathroom and standing up and using the toilet, the potty. Look at me. Always prove us right, but we were trying to fight for you, and it seemed like we would always see you making progress before the doctors would, and we would fight for you, and I swear they thought we were crazy at some points, like, he's not going to be able to do this, he's not going to be able to walk, or he's not going to be able to take a shower, or, just those little battles that we had to fight for you, but you always did, and they always did end up seeing. I know that you were sleeping through a lot of this, and I just want you to know that God has given us and you everything that we've needed so far to get through this, Each other, we would somehow manage to still laugh and to try to lift each other's burdens, and He gave us all of, your friends and family and relatives and people we don't even know across the entire world, I feel like, on the blog, and uplifting us and writing comments that we would read, and just priceless, because we knew that we weren't alone, and people would give verses, and just the music, it was just everything. God gave us everything that we needed to survive, and I don't want you to miss out on that. I don't want you to, to not realize the God part of this whole thing, I just feel loved and protected in a way, not that nothing bad is going to happen, and not whatever, but that we can handle it, He's not going to leave us, God's not going to leave us.